So in this example here, we're sketching the following system of linear inequalities. So I've got 4 of them. X plus y is less than or equal to 8. 2x minus y is less than 4. X is greater than 0. And y is greater than or equal to 0. I'll do it by hand, and then I'll show you how to do this on the CAS as well. So first of all, let's consider these two. X is greater than or equal to 0, and y is greater than or equal to 0. We only have to consider this quadrant here, the top right quadrant, quadrant 1, because x and y are both positive. So this, what I've just graphed here, this is x greater than or equal to 0, and y greater than or equal to 0, that is my green region. So the overlap, the part that is both in this blue region and the green region, is, as we said, that top quadrant there. So to help us out, we can just basically get rid of the rest of it and just look at x from 0 and upwards and y 0 and upwards. So now that we've narrowed down our region to this quadrant 1, with x and y are both greater than or equal to 0, we're going to look at x plus y is greater than or equal to 8. And we're just going to graph this inequality. If you're stuck on graphing inequalities, look back at lesson 1, the examples from lesson 1 of this chapter. So we sketch the line, first of all, x plus y equals 8, like so, noting that I have a straight line and a solid line because I've got less than or equal to. From there, I have to check which side of the line is the solution region. So plug in a point, I like 0, 0, and we find that it's this side of the line that is the solution region. So that's our solution region for just this inequality. We're going to do the same for the others. So give a try doing that one yourself and see how you go. So we want to sketch, first of all, the line 2x minus y equals 4. And we're sketching that one as a dotted line because it is strictly less than. There is no equal to. Once again, check which side. Is it over here or is it over here? That's our solution region. I'll use the point 0, 0 again just because that's an easy point to do. Plug that in, and we find that the left-hand side, that is our solution region. So the overall solution region here is the intersection. So it's the part that's been shaded blue and green. So it's this little chunk here. It's important to highlight that by labeling our required region. So I've pulled out that color. That is the required region. Now obviously this can get a little bit tricky when you are trying to identify this yourself and you can't overlay colors quite as nicely as the computer or as the CAS can. So there's another way that you can show this yourself. So if I've got just my two inequalities here, and I know I've worked out that it's this region in here, I can just shade that region as my required region, also called the feasible region. I can just shade that in like that. Still labeling it, that is my required region there. Give me a moment and we will get started, and we'll do this on the CAS as well. Okay, so on the CAS we want to identify and find this feasible region. Well, we're going to do this on a graphs page. So open up a graphs page. And what I'm going to do here, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. I'm going to show you the way to do it using the most recent version of the operating system, which is version 4.2. If you do not have version 4.2 yet, please come and speak to me, come and see me, and we can set you up with that, because it makes things so much easier when you are graphing inequalities. Okay, so I've got x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. I could graph those inequalities here, but the more inequalities you have, the fuzzier the colors get. It's a little bit harder to see, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to change my window, so all I can see is this quadrant here. So to do that, menu, 4, which is window zoom, and, well, there's a couple different ways of doing it. You can do the window settings, or there's a default here. Zoom to quadrant 1. You can still see a little bit of other stuff, so I think I prefer using the window settings and setting going from 0 as my smallest x, I don't know, to maybe 20, and 0 to 15. It doesn't really matter too much. And now we can see just quadrant 1. Now, to graph our two more complex inequalities, I guess. We'll start with x plus y less than or equal to 8. So we can go menu, 3, which is graph entry edit, and then 2, relation. Again, if you don't have version 4.2, you won't be able to see this relation. It doesn't exist. And we just type in, well, x plus y is less than or equal to 8. Enter. And it shades our, sorry, I managed to drag this somehow here. It shades our feasible region. And I'll graph the other one as well. So I can go back to the relation, or I can just press tab. And I've got 2x minus y is strictly less than 4. Press enter, and you will see here that it's a dotted line, whereas that one is a solid line. And this area in here is the intersection of the feasible regions. So this shape down at the bottom, I'll just move this out of the way a little bit so it's easier to see. That's the same shape that we found when we figured it out by hand.